Nick Wright recently said that the Buffalo Bills should take DeShaun Watson in a heartbeat if the Houston Texans offer to trade for Josh Allen. The question isn't will we, but I'm going to ask the question, should we? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this Would You Rather special Would You Rather edition of Believers Talk. We're going to talk about who would you rather? Would you rather DeShaun Watson or would you rather Josh Allen? Again, thank you guys for joining me on Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you're new to this channel, guys, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for continual Buffalo Bills and Buffalo sports content. While you're here, I know this is a controversial topic, and if you want the short answer, I'll give you that in a second. But while you're here, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. Leave a comment. Would you rather DeShaun Watson over Josh Allen, or do you want to stick with our main man, Josh Allen? Listen, if you want the simple answer, if you want a 1-minute video and you want to say, okay, we're done here, the short answer, no. The Buffalo Bills should not trade for DeShaun Watson, period, okay? But let's think about it, okay? Let's not just use emotions. Why would I say that we should not trade for DeShaun Watson? He wants out of Houston. He's a great quarterback, less than a year older than Josh Allen. Could he improve this Buffalo Bills team? Okay, so DeShaun Watson was the 12th overall pick in the 2017 overall draft by the Houston Texans. Him and the Houston Texans signing a 4-year contract extension at the end of the 2019 NFL season, before the start of the 2020 NFL season. And that's going to be important, and we're going to talk about that, the new contract, because listen, when you look at the new CBA, the Houston Texans got DeShaun Watson for a deal, right? They got him for a deal. I mean, you look at Patrick Mahomes, $500 million. I mean, that's nothing. So don't worry about what DeShaun Watson makes, because it would really actually help out the Bills compared to what the potential of what Josh Allen could make is going to be. We'll talk about the numbers. Let's leave emotions to the side. Remember, I've said it plenty of times on this channel. There's nobody in the NFL that's not tradable. There's nobody on the Buffalo Bills roster that right now, if they called Brandon Beane's phone, he shouldn't at least pick up the phone. Now, there's a difference between shopping a guy like the Houston Texans are shopping DeShaun Watson right now and taking the phone call, right? And I think that's the difference. But there's nobody on this roster where if the phone rang, Brandon Beane shouldn't pick it up and say what you're willing to offer me, okay? Obviously, Houston Texans are looking for a star comparable quarterback or a bunch of picks. Well, we got that star quarterback, so it would not cost us a lot of draft capital. In fact, some would argue that we would get some draft capital for DeShaun Watson. It would be a very interesting trade if this were to go down. But let's take a look at the numbers first, okay? The numbers themselves don't lie. Now, from a feelings, from an emotional standpoint, I would never want to trade Josh Allen. And I think that he is the future quarterback of this organization. But the Bills haven't said that yet. Everyone's talking about how this guy's the franchise guy. Well, there's no proof he's the franchise guy yet. The proof is a new contract. The proof is a contract extension, and he doesn't have that yet. Now, the Bills could be working one out right now, but until pen hits paper, the Bills have not told me that they believe that Josh Allen is a franchise quarterback. So when you take a look at this trade, again, I don't think the Buffalo Bills should do this. Who would I rather? I'd rather Josh Allen, and I'll tell you why. But again, let's take a look at the numbers. So in 2020, remember, 2020 was Josh Allen's best season so far. 2020 was the year that us Bills fans were screaming MVP, 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 right? We thought he was having an MVP caliber season. But now you look at DeShaun Watson and you say, what could he have done with a better offensive line? Okay, DeShaun Watson got sacked a whole bunch in 2020. What could he have done with a better offensive line? Because believe it or not, the Bills had a better offensive line than the Houston Texans. What could he have done with a better wide receiving core? You're talking about Diggs, you're talking about Brown, you're talking about Beasley when they were all healthy, right? I mean, Hopkins got traded. So who did DeShaun Watson have, right? Who did he have? Brandon Cooks? Like, that's it? Come on. That's not comparable. So let's take a look at these numbers and ask ourselves, Could Watson have done better? So in 2020, Josh Allen completed 69.2% of his passes, close to 70%. That's great no matter where you're talking about. I love that number. Watson was better. Watson at 70.2% was a full percentage point better than Josh Allen in completion percentage. Let's talk about yards per attempt. Listen, we can talk about yards all day, and if you look at the yards comparable to each other, Josh Allen threw for more passing yards than DeShaun Watson. However, you also look at Josh Allen throwing the ball a lot more than DeShaun Watson too. If you look at the pass attempt numbers, DeShaun Watson did not have the pass attempt numbers that Josh Allen had. So let's take a look at yards per attempt. And Josh Allen, 7.9. You like that number, right? You like that number. 8, that's perfect. DeShaun Watson, 8.9. A full yard more than Josh Allen. Imagine if that number could have gone up if he had the guy like Stephon Diggs. If he could have had a rookie coming up like a Gabe Davis, man, that could have been something dynamic. So let's look at some more numbers, right? So, but I did want to bring up this point. If DeShaun Watson would have thrown the ball as often as Josh Allen did, for as many pass attempts as Josh Allen did, and kept that 8.9 yards per attempt, he throws for over 5,000 yards this season. 5,000 yards in a season. I know Josh Allen broke the single-season Buffalo Bills record of passing yards, but that still has to be mentioned. You're talking about over 5,000 passing yards. If Watson would have as many pass attempts as Allen and kept that 8.9 clip, you got to really respect that and say, could he have been the better option? Touchdowns this season, we all know about Josh Allen. 37 passing touchdowns, again, a new Buffalo Bills single-season record. For DeShaun Watson, 33 passing touchdowns. Interceptions, DeShaun Watson only had 7 compared to Josh Allen's 10. So you look at those numbers, and again, different wide receiving core. Does that change things a little bit? The whole point of the game is getting in the end zone, though, and Josh Allen did that more than DeShaun Watson. You want to talk about running the ball, because a lot of times when we comp these quarterbacks, the one thing that Josh Allen stands out in is his running capabilities. That's why we love Josh Allen, because he's got that dual threat to him, right? He's not afraid to run the ball. And in fact, most times this year we saw him learn how to slide and get out of bounds a little bit, so that was good to see. But you look at DeShaun Watson, comparable numbers. Again, DeShaun Watson ran the ball 90 times this season. Allen ran 102 times this season, but why I keep saying Lamar? DeShaun Watson ran for more yards than Josh Allen. DeShaun Watson ran for 444 yards compared to Josh Allen's 421. Josh Allen ran at 4.1 yards per attempt, where DeShaun Watson 4.9. Now, Josh Allen did score more rushing touchdowns, scored 8 times, so you wonder if he had 2 or 3 more yards to get before that end zone, if he would have had those numbers go up. But you have to love touchdowns, right? The point of the game is scoring points, and Allen scored more points than DeShaun Watson this season by a pretty good margin. You're talking about 45 total touchdowns compared to 36 for DeShaun Watson. I mean, obviously you have to talk about that just a little bit when the point of the game is to score more points than your opponent. So let's take a look at their career stats, right? Now, remember, Watson has been in the NFL 1 year longer than Josh Allen. But you look at completion percentage, 67.8 for Watson compared to 61.8 for Josh Allen. A full 6 percentage points difference over their careers. 8.3 yards per attempt compared to 7.2. Again, a full yard plus in that category as well. You look at touchdowns, 104 for Watson, 67 for Josh Allen, 36 interceptions for Watson, 31 for Allen. So here's the question Bills fans have to ask themselves, right? And if you're a fan of DeShaun Watson, and if you're a Bills fan, here's something you gotta ask yourself. Do we take a chance on Josh Allen? Because yes, again, MVP 2020, but not that great 2018, and only a little bit better in 2019. Was 2020 an outlier, or is his trajectory still going up? That's the gamble you take, right? Because DeShaun Watson has proven he can do it year in and year out over the past few seasons, and he's done it with less help than what Josh Allen has had. So can Josh Allen do it on a consistent basis? Because you can have an elite level season and not be an elite quarterback. And that's where Josh Allen is right now. What's separating Josh Allen from an elite quarterback status is consistency. If he can pull off the same numbers this year, next season, then we're talking about a whole different ballgame. Then we know the Buffalo Bills made the right decisions. But what if he goes back to 2019, Josh Allen, and DeShaun Watson still puts up these numbers wherever he goes? Do we still think the Bills made the right call at that point? But here's the problem. One of the many problems with trading DeShaun Watson or Josh Allen for DeShaun Watson. If you make that trade, you put more pressure on DeShaun Watson and on this Buffalo Bills coaching staff and Brandon Beane that has ever been put on a quarterback in NFL history. You're talking about Buffalo Bills team. You're talking about Josh Allen, who just led this team to the AFC Championship game for the first time in 27 years. First time in 27 years, we're in the AFC Championship game. It doesn't get much better than that, but if we trade Josh Allen for DeShaun Watson, that's all we want. It's better than that. We can settle, maybe not settle is not the right word, but we can have an argument over, hey, if we finish 10-6 and lose in the wild card round next year, is it a lost season? Do we, because a lot of us are thinking Super Bowl and bust at this point, right? Because of what just happened with our Buffalo Bills. But you have to ask yourself, is that pressure worth it? It's not me facing the pressure. If we trade for DeShaun Watson, let's pretend we did it, right? Would we be satisfied with anything other than a Super Bowl? Probably not. Are we currently in a position where we'll be satisfied with anything other than a Super Bowl next season? Probably not, right? That is our new expectation. That's what Josh Allen has brought to Buffalo. So now we want to take a look at the numbers, right? Let's talk about numbers. Let's talk about brass tacks. This is a numbers game, and we all know that the salary cap in the NFL is going down due to a certain pandemic going on around the world. So again, this is where the Buffalo Bills could make out, okay? DeShaun Watson signed a new contract before the 2020 season began, before the new CBA was in effect. And what does that mean, the new CBA? The new collective bargaining agreement. What does that mean? Why is that a big deal? Because remember, in the new CBA, there's another game added to the regular season. 17 games in a regular season. So that means, comparatively, you'd be paying Josh Allen for 5 more games. Now let's talk about $684,000 or whatever it would be per game. You're talking about a couple million. You're talking about a couple million over Josh Allen's contract. And if you believe that Josh Allen's a better quarterback than DeShaun Watson, then you're talking about a larger contract overall. Currently, DeShaun Watson's contract is an average of 39, or at least his extension was an average of 39 mil per season. 39 million per season. That's actually not that bad for a quarterback of his stature. So we're willing to pay that, right? Because again, he's still on his rookie contract. Next year would be that 5th-year option. I think he makes somewhere between $14 and $19 million next season. And then he goes into that 4-year extension. Now, luckily for Bills fans, we have Josh Allen for 2 more seasons, and then the extension would go into effect. But if that extension is worth more money, who knows what happens? And another key here is that DeShaun Watson, his signing bonus will have to be paid by the Houston Texans, not the Buffalo Bills. So when you talk about brass tacks, when you talk about dollars, when you talk about cents, it almost makes sense for the Buffalo Bills, because I think these two are very comparable, right? I think these two are very comparable when it comes to just the stats, when it comes to just performance on the field. They both have the leadership qualities, okay? We can't deny that. They both have the running ability. We can't deny that. They both can throw the dang ball. We can't deny that. But here's where it matters, okay? Here's where I say no, no, no to this trade. There is a team atmosphere. There is a culture that Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott have been building for 4 years. You heard it in the locker room, week 17, maybe wild card weekend. I forget what weekend it was. Coach McDermott in the locker room saying this was a 4-year process, getting choked up, talking about the process, talking about the culture of this Buffalo Bills team. What does it do to the culture of a team? What does it do for a culture of any business? What does it do for any culture when you take the MVP guy, you take the guy who is the guy at the top spot in your business, and say, we're getting rid of you, we're bringing in somebody else? You want to talk about team morale. You want to talk about boost of confidence, okay? We just saw what happened to the Eagles when Doug Peterson sat their quarterback week 17 in a meaningless game. He ends up getting fired. So between the pressure you put on yourself and DeShaun Watson, Josh Allen's already feeling pressure. He knows what he has to do. between that pressure that you just don't want to put on a quarterback. You don't want to bring him into a situation and say you have to win a Super Bowl. We're not all Tom Brady. We can't all change situations and then lead our team to a Super Bowl. That's why what TB12 is doing is so amazing in Tampa, because it's rarely done. So that's an unfair thing to do to a young quarterback. Secondly, again, DeShaun Watson, I'm not going to say he's plateaued, okay? But we know what we have out of DeShaun Watson. We had an MVP caliber season out of Josh Allen, and it could get better. Now, yes, it could get worse. Remember, he could regress too. This could be an outlier of a season for him. This could, at the end of his 10-year career, you could look at his stats and say this was easily his best season of all time. Right? Easily the best season of his career. We've seen it happen before. So are you willing to take that gamble? Either way, it's a gamble. But man, if Josh Allen can get better than he has been, then he surpasses DeShaun Watson, as if he hasn't already, as one of the best QBs in the game. Right? They're not at Patrick Mahomes level. Let's not talk about Patrick Mahomes. But when you talk about the top 5 quarterbacks currently in the league, both DeShaun Watson and Josh Allen are in that conversation. And I think if Josh Allen stays at the trajectory he's currently at, then he is going to easily surpass DeShaun Watson in that category. DeShaun Watson, I think, will always be the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the league, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think DeShaun Watson will play in many Super Bowls in his career. But I do believe, and I think you guys do too, that Josh Allen has the potential to be the #1 quarterback in this league, if only for a season. I think he has that potential, and that's why you hang on to Josh Allen. The numbers sound nice, right? They do. But when you talk about the culture of this team, when you talk about the potential of both these players, I think you have to keep Josh Allen. Now, again, you're Brandon Beane. Pick up the phone. Listen to the trade offer. And what if it's DeShaun Watson and they feel like Josh Allen's better and they want that franchise quarterback? What if they offered you DeShaun Watson and a second for Josh Allen? You still say no? It might sound like a lot, but look what the Lions just gave up, or look what the Rams just gave up to get Matthew Stafford. Okay, and I think both these quarterbacks are better than Matthew Stafford right now. So it's not out of the realm possibility that the Texans are saying, wait, so we have to trade our star quarterback. Let's get a star quarterback in return. We're so desperate to make sure we have a star quarterback. We'll give up a little extra. Yeah. So we win the trade. We still get a top 5 quarterback. That's a tough one to just not even listen to that phone call. So again, if I'm Brandon Beane, I pick up that phone. I listen to what the Texans have to say. But at the end of the day, you give Josh Allen that contract extension. You say, okay, you led us to an AFC Championship game. Now take it all the way. Josh Allen has made it further in the playoffs than DeShaun Watson has in his career so far. Right? That's the truth. And it's 1 year less. 1 less year of sample size. I think Josh Allen can take us all the way. And like I said, I think Josh Allen can be the best QB in this league. Let me know if you agree in the comment section. Again, what would you think? Would you rather DeShaun Watson? Would you rather Josh Allen? I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.